Hey everyone, today we're going to be checking out the Island Hopper 2.0 from Cor Surf. These are bags that had always popped up in my feed when I was scrolling through Amazon, and they had caught my eye because they seem to offer a similar layout to Cotopaxi's Alpa backpacks, which I was a big fan of, so I was definitely curious to check them out. And in this video I'm going to be talking about what it's been like to test them over the past couple of weeks. I'll show you how I've loaded them out, walk through all the features, and I'll also talk about how they compare to some of the other similar bags that are currently on the market. Before jumping into the video, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Danny, and on this channel we love reviewing popular travel and everyday carry gear. If you like these types of videos and you'd be interested in seeing more, please consider subscribing as it helps the channel out a lot. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Starting off with the overall aesthetic, like the Cotopaxi Alpa packs, these have a fairly minimal appearance, but it still has a little bit of a functional vibe. You have attachment points along the exterior, handles, even the materials also just feel a little bit more rugged and outdoorsy, so I think that this is a style that's gonna work well for all types of travel. As far as the materials, these feel pretty solidly built. This exterior material has a ripstop texture that feels like it's gonna offer plenty of durability and a lot of weather resistance. It really feels like the items that are on the inside will be well protected from the elements, and one of the impressive aspects about these fabrics is that it helps keep the weight of the bag down. With the 28 liter size, this comes in at about 2 pounds, and then the 34 liter size comes in at around 2.5 pounds. So that's gonna be great when you're traveling on some of these stricter international airlines. Then beyond that, you have some really reliable YKK zippers all throughout. Continuing along the exterior, the functionality is gonna be pretty similar for both bags, and so you're gonna have a couple of attachment points that are gonna be great for clipping on additional accessories. You actually get a YKK clip included with the bag, so that'll be great for attaching an extra pair of shoes, maybe a travel pillow if you're using one of these. And so, I think that's a nice kind of bonus that you get that. And then you're gonna have a side handle on both of them. And this isn't super padded or anything like that, but it's got a nice durable feeling material, and this feels well reinforced. You also have an attachment point on the bottom that you can use to clip on additional things. You have the Hopper 2.0 branding here on the side. And then at the top, you also have a pretty nice carrying handle, slightly different style here than what's on the side. This one has an appearance that matches up with the materials that are on the bag. And so, I think that they both work well. Again, not the most padded, but they'll get the job done. And then on the side, you have a water bottle pocket on both of these. And with the larger bag, you're gonna be able to hold a larger water bottle. And so this is my 26-ounce Yeti Rambler, and that fits in there without any issue. You can see that the water bottle pocket expands nicely towards the outside, so even when the bag is full, you're still able to fit that in there. When you pull it out, it hugs the bag. And then with the 28 liter size, you won't be able to hold quite as large of a water bottle, but it still has the same material and elasticity, and so it should still be able to adapt to a wide variety. This is able to hold the 26 ounce as well. Just feels a little bit tighter, and so great to have that included with the bags. And on the front, you have the Cor Surf branding here in the center. It does blend in pretty nicely with the exterior of the bag. It's fairly prominent, but at least it's not a bright white kind of contrast. And I know that with the 1.0 version, there were a couple of different colors. Not sure if that's on the roadmap for 2.0, but the black colorway works great for me. I'm a big fan of black travel bags. You do also have this pop of green for the zipper. I probably would have preferred to just have an all black exterior, but your mileage may vary with that. And then the last thing I'll mention while we're talking about the exterior is how well the bags stand up on their own. As with many similar style bags, this will largely depend on how loaded the bags are. So they have a fairly flat bottom that's pretty stable when everything is loaded out and evenly distributed, but I have noticed that they can tip a little bit as you start to shift things around. Moving into the capacity, you have a 28 liter size and a 34 liter size. I really like this 28 liter as a minimal travel bag, and I do think that this is gonna work pretty well as a personal item on a variety of domestic and international airlines. Some of the dimensions will start to kind of hit the limit on the stricter airlines, but it does have a fairly flexible structure, which is really nice. It'll allow it to squeeze down, particularly if it's not as full. And then the 34 liter size is a really great one bag travel option. This is the capacity that I feel comfortable taking with me pretty much anywhere in the world as a carry-on bag that I can store in an overhead storage compartment. And so, more than enough stuff for a couple of weeks of travel. Now, One thing to note with this style of bag is that as you pack it out, it can get pretty deep and it'll stick out a little bit, so you want to keep that in mind, but still a very versatile carry-on friendly size in my experience. Continuing with the harness system, so far both bags have been pretty comfortable to wear. There are some differences between the 34 and 28 liter sizes here, and from what I saw on the company site, there's been some improvements over the original version of the Island Hopper, and so on the straps, both are gonna offer a pretty nice amount of padding. This is where I think I saw the biggest differences with the Alpha packs, is in the rigidity of the padding that's been included. Those just felt a little thicker or more substantial, but these feel pretty good. It's a little bit more padded on the 34 liter size. It just feels thicker, and the straps are also wider versus the 28 liter, but again, they've both felt pretty good. They offer the breathable mesh that I'm a fan of, and then they include a sternum strap, which is nice. And on the 28 liter size, you don't have any sort of a waist strap, which I actually really like. That's one thing that I really didn't like about the 28 liter Alpha pack, is they always had that waist strap that you couldn't remove. And so great to see that you have a more minimal and clean setup here. And then with the 34 liter bag, you do have an integrated waist belt. And so this is gonna offer a good amount of padding and support. And you do have the option to hide this away if you don't want to use it, so you can secure it. It'll help shift that weight off your shoulders, but then if you prefer not to, you can hide it away. I generally prefer not to do that because you really have to put it away carefully so that you don't feel it kind of digging into your back. I'm sure you can do it, but if the bag has a waist strap that's this integrated, I tend to just use it. And then on the back panel, you also have a nice amount of padding. And then this feels a little bit more similar on both bags, so it feels very cushioned, well distributed throughout. You again have that breathable material, and you do have some elevation to create some ventilation while you're walking around, which has been good to see. On both of these, you also have a luggage pass-through that will allow you to rest this on your suitcase while you're traveling. And you have a couple of hidden zippered pockets, which is really cool to see. Same layout here, so you have one at the top. And so these are gonna be good spots to store something a little bit more sensitive, like a passport, wallet, some extra cash. I have a field notes notebook in there. And then you have another one behind the luggage pass-through. I thought this was a really cool addition because you can't even really see it. And both of them have this pocket, and again, similar kind of amount of space offered here to store something a little bit more sensitive, some backup cash, some extra credit cards, things like that. Jumping into the organizational options, I'm gonna focus on the 34 liter size first, just so that it's easier to see as I'm going through the bag. The layouts are gonna be similar. It'll mostly come down to the capacity of what can be held, and so I'll load out the 28 liter size in a bit, but starting off on the exterior, you have a zippered quick access pocket on the front, which is a helpful spot for those items that you're grabbing more regularly. So here I have a portable battery. I also have my AirPods and then a charging cable. And so all those items fit in there comfortably. And then you have a very spacious zippered pocket behind those. This is a style of pocket that I'm always a fan of because it can hold an impressive amount and it gives you a ton of flexibility. So it goes down to about this point here, and it is that depth and volume that just, I felt like I kept putting things in and it still had a little bit of space. And so here at the top, I have my AR glasses that I use to watch my phone and movies on a larger screen. I have a travel adapter, and then I also have a packable rain jacket here. And so that could also be a toiletry bag, liquids bag while going through TSA. So really great to have that extra flexibility. And then you have a little lanyard with a clip for your keys. You have a zippered pocket on the back, also with a good amount of space. I just have an extra pouch here, Tom Bin Ghost Wheel pouch. And then on the front, you have another mesh zippered pocket. And I really like how wide the opening is. And again, good depth here. So it was able to handle my USB-C hub with a charging cable very comfortably. Still had some extra space if there were other things that I wanted to toss in there. So really cool compartment here. And then on the side, you have the dedicated laptop compartment. It has a tall, vertically oriented zipper. I wish that maybe this had an aqua guard, given that it is for your laptop. And then you do have a little bit of a gap here at the top, so something that you want to keep in mind if you happen to get caught in some heavier rain. And so opening this up, I love having the dedicated compartment so that you can access your device. The luggage pass-through, still works. If your laptop is standing, you can still get to it And then you have an actual separate sleeve for your laptop along with some extra space if you're gonna have a tablet or notebook or folders or something like that. So you do have a little bit of extra space. And then you have this strap here to help keep your device in place and a padded sleeve that will be able to handle a 15 or 16 inch laptop comfortably. Here I have my 14-inch MacBook Pro. You can see there's plenty of leftover space. And I believe that the design was improved with this version to provide some extra protection on the bottom. And so it is pulled up off the bottom a little bit here, so you do have some protection. I will say that because of the structure of the materials, if the bag is empty, you have that scenario where you could potentially still have some contact with the bottom. So something to keep in mind, but still the sleeve itself is pulled up. And so I'll go ahead and pull my laptop out. Now with the compartment empty, you can get a better look at the inside, and I like the amount of space that's offered here. It comes up a decent amount, so if you happen to have a thicker device or you want to add a case with your laptop, you should be able to handle that. And with the amount of padding that's offered here, it does feel like my laptop is going to be protected while I'm on the go. Moving into the main compartment, you have a suitcase style opening. You don't have the ability to lock these zippers in the traditional sense. The zipper pulls are large enough that you could use another type of lock to potentially secure this to give yourself some theft deterrence. And then the zipper here does have that aqua guarded coating. And so opening it up still works very smoothly, and you have the dual compartment layout. And so on one side, you have the spacious kind of larger area where I'm currently storing my packing cubes. You have a zippered mesh divider here to kind of keep everything in place, and compression straps. And so here at the moment, I just have my Peak design setup, my medium compressible packing cube. I also have the small compressible packing cube. Both of those fit in there very comfortably. Could have probably squeezed in a little bit more if I needed to, but beyond that, pretty simple layout here. And then on the other side, you have a zippered pocket at the top, which is great since it's at the top. It can almost be a quick access area. This is where I have my passport wallet, but great for other types of accessories. And then you have this zippered segment here that is a great spot for something like an extra pair of shoes. I have my Toms in a packing cube. I have my Nomadic collapsible laundry basket because it felt like I had some extra space. And then I have Peak design cube and my DOP kit. So all of those things fit in there very comfortably. It didn't feel like anything was overly packed. I probably could have put a little bit more. And then you have this compartment that actually goes all the way to the top. And so depending on how full that front area is, it will impact how much space you have here to take advantage. But I do like that you have a couple of different ways to organize. And so really effective design. And again, this is the 34-liter size, so carry-on friendly. And then coming back around to the 28-liter size, very similar layout here. You still have that same pocket on the front where I could toss in my phone, charger, and my AirPods. And I also had the portable battery, and all of that still fits in there, no issue. And then we have the admin area here with that large compartment. At the moment I just have Bellroy pouch there, as well as one of my bulkier pairs of sunglasses. And so you still get a lot of space here, which I love, even on this 28-liter size. So it could still handle that packable rain jacket that I had in the other one, as well as the travel adapter. And then it still place these in here as well. That's about it. It feels a little bit tighter, but it all fit, which is great to see. The one thing that I didn't place was my USB-C hub, which did fit in there previously. Could potentially squeeze it in, but it's just starting to get a little tighter and things could fall out if I were to open the bag up. Another difference with the 28-liter size is you don't have that zippered pocket on the lid, so it's a little bit of a simpler layout, but still very effective. You have the mesh pocket on the back, so I have a headlamp in there, as well as my mouse. You still have the lanyard with a clip. And then on the side, you again have the dedicated laptop compartment. Everything here is gonna be pretty much the same, and this should still be able to hold a 15 or 16-inch laptop. Here's my 14-inch MacBook Pro again, and you can see plenty of leftover space. So even on that smaller size, great to see that you can handle a larger laptop if you need to. And then moving into the main compartment, I had this loaded out with a little bit of a different layout, just because the larger version had my typical packing cubes, but I do still have kind of a packing cube setup here in this section. And so I have one of my older Arkido compressible cubes that fits in there. You still have the compression strap. The layout is the same here pretty much. And then I just tossed in a tech pouch, but I'll go ahead and bring back the Peak Design cubes just so we can get a proper size comparison. And you can still fit pretty much the same layout here. It's just gonna be a little tighter. So there's not really any leftover space now in this compartment once I put both of those in, but impressive that it can handle it. And then on the other side, in this zippered pocket, I currently have a Field Notes notebook, but could still potentially fit that same Bellroy travel wallet that I had in the larger version. And then again, this compartment here, another packing cube with a pair of Toms, pretty similar layout there, additional compressible packing cube with some clothing, just to kind of showcase the capacity, but same things would fit here for the most part as I had in the other one. So it's not a huge difference. You do get that extra space with the 34 liter capacity, but this is why I'm such a fan of the 28 liter size, because it doesn't feel like you're having to give up too much capacity for a much kind of smaller feeling bag. And so I really love this size in general. I talk about it a lot on the channel. And so it feels like you get a lot of space, but regardless, both of the bags are gonna offer, solid materials. They're gonna be pretty comfortable to wear, and then it'll really just come down to how much capacity you want and how important the waist belt is, because this 28 liter size doesn't include it. But if you're looking for a versatile travel backpack in either capacity, I think these are gonna be really interesting to take a look at. And so to wrap up, it's been a pretty great experience testing out the Island Hopper 2.0 over the past couple of weeks. You can currently purchase these on the company's site. I believe the standard pricing for the 28 liter size is gonna be about $120, and the 34 liter size is gonna come in at around $135, $140. I have seen the price jump around a little bit, so you wanna make sure to check the site for the latest pricing. And to me, these prices feel pretty reasonable considering the features and the build quality that they have to offer, and they're also gonna compare well against some of the other similar bags in their respective price ranges. And so as I was testing these out, the first bags they made me think of, in addition to the Cotopaxi Alpha Packs, is the Osprey Daylight carry-on backpack. I recently took a look at the 35 liter version of that bag, and I thought it was a great option for anyone who's just getting into one bag travel. Is pretty lightweight. It had a simple but effective layup. The 35 liter size was able to hold an impressive amount, and Osprey makes, high quality bags. It came in at a pretty nice price point for somebody who's not looking to break the bank with a travel backpack. And so if you're looking for something that has a simpler, kind of more traditional suitcase style opening that's gonna be comfortable and very versatile, and that's gonna be an excellent option to take a look at. Another bag this made me think of is the TomTalk 40 liter travel backpack, which has been one of the most impressive, more budget-friendly options. Very solid build quality. It's got a comfortable harness system. At 40 liters, it's able to hold an impressive amount of stuff, but due to the simpler layout, it never feels overwhelmingly bulky or large. It's got a padded laptop sleeve, some quick access pockets, and so it just really kind of checks off the boxes for what you'd be looking for out of a simple carry-on friendly bag. And if you're looking for something that's gonna offer a nice build quality at a pretty good price point, that's gonna be a great option to keep in mind. And then the last option that I'll mention here is the Bellroy Light Travel Pack, which is available in a 30 and 38 liter size. I've been a big fan of the aesthetic and the layout of that bag. It's got Bellroy's minimal, slightly rugged sort of appearance. The materials on that are very solid, and the weight is super impressive considering the quality and the materials that are used. So it's gonna be great if you're looking for something to carry on international airlines. I really like the 30 liter size in particular. With the less rigid form factor of that bag, it really looks pretty compact. It's really impressive, and it has a suitcase style opening, some good organization incorporated, a comfortable harness system, padded laptop compartment, luggage pass-through, so really offering a nice feature set. And if you're looking for something that's gonna prioritize keeping the bag lightweight and that's gonna work great for minimal travel, then those are gonna be some fantastic options to consider. With that being said, the Island Hopper 2.0 holds up very well against all those options. And if you're looking for a minimal travel bag that's gonna be carry-on friendly, that's gonna offer a nice layout and a good amount of space, and these are gonna be some great options to consider. And I'm definitely curious to hear what you all think of the Island Hopper 2.0 and how they compare to some of the other popular travel bags that are currently on the market. And if there's any similar options that you think that I should check out, as always, please let me know in the comments. And I want to thank the company for sending the bags for me to test out, and to you guys for watching and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.